August numbers are in for the Lafayette Parish real estate market. And man, at first glance, it looks like we didn't have a whole lot of action moving on. The closed sales ended up going up 2.5% year to date. Dollar volume was only up 8%, but there's some real interesting things that pop up with our average sales price going up 8%. I'm going to dig in a little bit deeper, and I'm going to tell you why. Hey, it's Robbie Bro with Robbie Bro and team at The Real Broker, and let us jump right into what's going on with our numbers here. So you can see July 2025, we had 319 sales compared to 311. First glance, not a ton of action right there, kind of a snoozer. Snooze is not necessarily bad. We're up 2.5%. Year to date, we're up 4.75, 4.8%. So not a ton of action that's going on, but relatively flat if you go from June through July. Now you can see on the graph right here, this is the third month in a row that we outperformed the top month in total closed sales compared to this time last year. So things are still moving along really, really well. So when we take a look at dollar volume, our dollar volume ends up telling us a little bit of a similar story. We cracked the $100 million mark for the year for the first time in quite some time. Same thing. We ended up beating our best our best month last year was 91 million, which is in July. 11% increase compared to that point. 11% increase compared to this time last year. We're up 7.5% year to date, year over year, and another really nice jump from June over to July. You can see 93 million on up to 101.05 million. So moving along. Whenever we're taking a look at some of these things, digging through average sales price, this one was one that kind of jumped off. Let's see, sales price. We want to be at average. Huge jump right here from 316, 292,000 in July of 2024 to 316. Now, while this looks like you have lots of crazy inflation that's running through, isn't necessarily, we did see dollar volume jump up, but if you dig a little bit deeper into the numbers, one of the things that happened this year in 2025, there were 5 sales over $1 million. I'm sorry, 6 sales over $1 million. We had a 3.2 million. We had a 2.6 million, a 1.725 million, a 1.185 million, a 1.065, and a 1.025. That's three sales over 1.5 million. Last year, we only had 3 between 1.3 and 1.4 million, and a couple of them at 1 and 1.1 respectively. So the jump is primarily coming from these massive sales. And you start adding those $1 million sales, it ends up making the average sales price for everything. So, while I would say, I can expect come July of 2026, this number will probably drop off, assuming we don't have anything absolutely crazy with super high end sales. But that's the reason for that massive kind of one-off atypical number that we end up seeing. But for the most part, everything's been kind of running along a similar slow, steady pace. The other leading indicators that we love to go and take a look at are new homes that are coming up on the market. We had a pretty decent uptick in the total new homes that came on the market this past July. So 460 compared to 362. That's a 24% increase in new signs that went out into the yard, into our market throughout MLS. We're up about 5.5% year to date on the total number of new listings. Now, when we take a look at some of the pending sales, similar thing popped up, 359 compared to 285. That's a 38.5% increase in the demand, or the new home, or the homes that went under contract and went off the market. So what ended up spawning that? The rates have slowly started to be able to creep down. We're hanging around the mid 6s, mid to upper 6s, 6.5, 6.8. Our government rates have been in the upper 5s. So that's been something that's really nice to be able to jump in and take a look. But our demand has done really well. So June of last year, we were 285 compared to 275. I mean, that's a small little bit of a decrease, but for the most part, if you take a look at the line, we end up being almost the pending sales of the homes coming off the market has almost outperformed every single month. And our year-to-date numbers for pending are up 8.5% or 8.6% year-to-date. So the demand is still outpacing the supply. So the next thing that we end up liking to take a look at, I want to see the available homes that are coming up for sale remained relatively flat from June to July, 1273, but compared to this time last year, 1217, small increase in the total number of homes that were available to be able to pick. While it looks like there's a huge jump, we are still well below we're above what our COVID numbers are. But if you take a look at pre-COVID, we are still, we were in that 13, 14, still a little bit less, about 10-ish, 13% fewer homes available for sale than the beginning of COVID. So lots of stuff moving on, but moving forward, as far as what the timing looks like for you guys, if y'all are in the market to be able to go and potentially go and look for homes for sale, the right time to buy isn't necessarily trying to time the market of when's the market dropping, when's it rising. The time for you guys to go and buy is when you are ready, because there's always going to be a reason for people to be able to move. We got, personal needs are going to end up overshadowing or over forcing out some of these end up factors. And look, the timing could be right, just depending on what yours happens to be. It may not be the right time financially for you to be able to sit down and take a look at what that happens to be. So if you're interested in finding out what your equity position is, we got some reports that are going to be coming out. I'll be shooting out on the link below. You can go and dial down into your zip code to see exactly where the market is. And I'll be able to jump in and give you guys a little bit more info on what that happens to look like. So interested in finding out what that looks like, give me a call. My personal cell, 337-658-5690. You can shoot me a direct message or shoot me a text. Looking forward to seeing you, and we will see you next month.